Welcome to Crocodile MTG, your home of competitive, constructed play in the modern, standard, and legacy formats. Today's video was brought to you by all our wonderful sponsors, affiliates, and patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the Crocodile MTG channel, and we hope you enjoy today's video. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jordan with Crocodile MTG, here bringing you another Magic the Gathering video. Today we are playing a ranked Ravnica Allegiance draft on MTG Arena. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our Pack 1 Pick 1. So starting off the bat, we have a Venerated Loxodon as our rare in the pack. A very powerful card. It has Convoke, and whenever it enters the battlefield, if you convoked this spell with any creature that was used to convoke it, gets a +1/+1 counter. So with that said, let's look at some other potential picks in this pack. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else in this pack we really want. I think it's just Venerated Loxodon. Alright, so on to pack number 2. So what would be the pick in this pack? I like the blue. I like the kind of removal spells blue has going on right now. I don't think we want to pick Flight this early without knowing how our deck's shaping out. Gateway Plaza, again, is pretty good with mana fixing. I'm not seeing any card that stands out super well in this hand. I do feel like our pick might just be Sinister Sabotage or Selective Snare here. Selective Snare, again, is a good removal spell for 2 mana. You can bounce a permanent, and then, or 2 or more mana, you can bounce a permanent or multiple permanents, and then Sinister Sabotage just counters everything here. I think I'm going to take the Sabotage. Alright, let me just glance through this pack real quick. Legionnaire stands out a little bit. Sworn Companions create 2/1/1 white soldier creatures with lifelink. That's a good card if we're going the Convoke strategy. We also have Cover Up, which is counter target spell, and then you can shuffle 4 cards from your graveyard into your library, 4 or less. And you don't have to shuffle them in, so... also in this pack, we have something like Radical Idea, draw a couple cards. We have Deadweight, which is a decent removal spell. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and Trample. It's a 5-drop. I think since we have this Loxodon, I think I'm going to take the Sworn Companions here. I think it can be a decent setup card later. I guess I could also take Shield Mage, which in case we go like blue-green, or if we do white splashing something, we can still play the Shield Mage. Yeah, I'm going to take the Sworn Companion still. Alright, Skyline Scout stands out in this pack right off the bat. You can pay white and a colorless and give it flying until end of turn, so it can be kind of an evasive attacker. If we're sticking to this blue plan, Drake Muse is a 4-drop, 1/3, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. It's not super powerful, but it does replace itself. Alright, you got to remember in this set that the color combinations are blue-black, blue-red, green-black, red-white, and green-white. So, did I already say green-white? Green-white, red-white, blue-black, blue-red, black-green. Okay, so those are the 5 guilds in this set. So we do probably want to, like, I don't think we're going to be in blue-white. I think we're going to be in white-red or white-green. So I think being that this Wojak bodyguard is so strong if you get it down early, I think I'm going to take that. Alright, in this pack we have Haunted Witness, Candlelight Veil, Righteous Blow, Bugler Rat, Notion Rain, Whisper, Agent, Sonic Assault, and Shield Mage. We have a couple lockets here. Is it Guildgate? I think if we're going the Convoke plan that we kind of have now, like small creatures, kind of mentor them up or convoke them to make them larger, I think I want to take the Haunted Witness here. Candlelight, though, is also potentially good, especially if we're dealing with a lot of smaller creatures, but I think I'm just going to take the Haunted Witness here. Alright, so here I kind of like the 5/2 with Mentor. It can be killed pretty easily in combat, but if they don't have something to kill it with, then it's a pretty huge swing in our favor. Selesnya Guildgate is also something we could take because we have mainly white cards right now, and if we kind of start going into this green splash or a Naya splash, which is white, red, and green, that Guildgate could help mana fix. I'm not too interested in the Locksmith or the Fire Urchin. Maniacal Rage is an okay aura. Your creature can't block once you put her on it, which can be situationally bad in this format. I think I would just want to take the Hammer Dropper here. Alright, here's a Boros Guildgate if we're going the red-white. I think it's a little too early to tell. Pack Beast isn't bad. Joined Shields isn't bad. Centaur's good, though, if we're going this Convoke plan. And again, I think we're going to end up in Naya colors, where we kind of have this Mentor mechanic mixed in with these big Convoke creatures. So I think here I want to take the Rosemane Centaur. So the order I'm going to pick these in is Centaur. If I didn't pick Centaur, I'd pick Beast. If I didn't pick either of those two, I would pick the Guildgate. So I'm going to take the Centaur here. So we have a removal spell, Caller the Culprit, which is destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Potentially very good. We have a Courier here, which if you sack it, gives another creature haste. Generous Stray. Another Crushing Canopy. This is a really good removal spell. If we were playing blue, I'd probably take this. But I think we're kind of straying away from blue. So I think I'm going to take the Caller the Culprits here. Alright, Hitchclaw Spider, or Recluse, sorry. It's a spider, 1/4 with reach, is decent, especially since we don't have a lot of... One, it's a 3-drop, which can be used to convoke things later, but also it's a reach card, and we don't have a lot of those. So if our opponent is playing like a heavy flyer deck, we don't really have anything to combat that. So I'm going to take the Recluse here. Alright, since we have this green-white splash and our drops are a little big, I don't mind the Locket. The other thing here, we can pick up another Hammer if we want, or we can pick up a Peacekeeper. I feel like most of our plays are going to kind of curve out in theory. So I think I'm going to take the Hammer here. The Hammer is good because it's a 5/2 and it can like buff things like a Rosemane Centaur. There's a lot of 4/4s in this set, or like 3/3s that can get boosted by that. Alright, I think here I just want to take the Boros Guildgate. We can take the Druid, but I don't feel like we're going to play it. Alright, we'll take this Boros Locket. Maniacal Rage. I'm going to take it, but I kind of just want to put it in our sideboard. And I'll take an Intrusive Beast. Alright, pack number 2. Here we have some pretty decent cards. We have Status Statue, which gives a creature Death Touch and +1/+1 until end of turn. We have Dream Eater, which I might actually take, not to play in this draft, but just to take for the value. I don't have very many of these. Dream Eater is a mythic rare, flash flying. When it enters the battlefield, you surveil 4, and if you do, you may return target, or when you do, you may return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. And it's a 4/3, so that's a very good card. We also have Loxodon Restore and Guardian here. There's definitely other things I'm going to take, but I am going to take this Dream Eater. I know some people are going to yell at me in the chat, but I'm going to take it just for potential value down the road in our constructed games. Alright, now we have Thousand Year Storm here. Let me get rid of the Sinister Sabotage. Thousand Year Storm is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn. You may choose a new target for each of those copies. Again, mythic rare, card I do not have. Potential pick. Potential pick just because of the value it can give us to constructed later down the road. I don't think Thousand Year Storm is one of those ones that's going to be played that often, but what would be the actual smart pick here? Probably World Soul Colossus. I'm going to take Thousand Year Storm though. I know people are going to yell at me for that. Alright, here is a guild pack, which the glaive is an equipment that you pay 2 for the equipment, and it sits on the battlefield till you pay 3 and equip it to a creature, and when you do, that creature gets +1/+0 for each gate you control, and has Vigilance and Menace. So that's a really powerful card, and with all our little guys, we might want that. The other card that's standing out here is Selesnial Guildgate. We also have a Rossmane Centaur, but I think it's just the guild pack here. Alright, Boros Guildgate. We have a Goblin Ornery. We also have a Gorgon, which I know that's green-black, but it's a hybrid, so we can just pay green for it if we want. We also have another Recluse here, but I think the pick I'm going to take here is the Ornery. Yeah, I'm going to take the Ornery here. Alright, this card is very good. Sergeant has Haste, Mentor, 4/2. It can kind of swing combat in your favor and come out of nowhere. So if our opponent's not expecting it, it's definitely a good card to go to. We also have an Undergrowth here, which it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter for each creature in your graveyard. But since we're running kind of a token-ish build with like Companion, I don't feel like we're going to have a lot of cards in our graveyard to make this playable. We do have another Haunted Witness here, but I think Sergeant's our best pick of this pack. Alright, so looking off the back, we have a Convoke card, but it's a little big for what we're looking to do. I think it might just be Fresh-Faced Recruit. When it's our turn, it has First Strike, and being able to buff it up with the cards we currently have in the Mentor strategy, I feel like this card's going to get big really fast and be pretty good. We also have Take Heart if we wanted. Alright, I think I'm going to start with the Fresh-Faced Recruit. We might end up just kind of in a Boros strategy and end up cutting green, because we only have 3 cards right now in green. Alright, Legion Guildmage is a good card. You can pay 6 and tap it to deal 3 damage to each opponent. You can also pay a white and 2 to tap another creature. That's probably the pick here. Again, another Haunted Witness, a Loxodon Restore, which gains us 4 life, a Boros Guildgate. I think Legion Guildmage is just the best card in this pack. Alright, Invert. So you can switch the power and toughness of each up to 2 creatures until end of turn. So that's a decent card here. For 4, you can sack this and deal 3 damage to target creature, so it's a creature removal spell, which is mediocre. We also have Candlelight Vigilant, which gives our creature +3/+2 and Vigilant. So if we combine that with a Mentor person, that's actually a pretty decent combo. That might be the pick here. We could also take something like Samala Wood Shaper, but since I don't know if we're going to keep green around for these 3 cards, I don't want to start picking too many green heavy cards. I'm going to take this Candlelight Vigilant though. Alright, next up in this pack we have a Boros Locket, but we already have one, so we don't want too many of those. Sundew's not bad. It's Defender and Reach, and can get have Indestructible if you pay 5 for it. I think Guardian's probably our best card here. It's a Convoke 2/4 that comes down pretty early. Alright, in this pack we have Loxodon Restorer, we have 10th District, which enters the battlefield, target creature gets +0/+1 until end of turn. We have Maximize Velocity, which gives something +1/+1 in haste. We also have Boar, which enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So all these cards are decent if we're going this heavy Mentor strategy. So let me just take the green out right now and see where our Mentor deck is kind of at. So we have a lot of little guys. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 4. We have 4 Mentor guys and a Loxodon. So I almost wonder if Rubble Belt Boar is one of the better cards here, because we can give one of our Mentor people +2/+0. Maybe Maximize Velocity, give something +1/+1 in haste until end of turn. Yeah, let's take the... I guess that's a Sorcery Speed. I feel like we'd mess that up. Let's take the Boar here. How many... Yeah, we have some early plays. Let's take the Boar. Alright, we have 1 intrusive Pack Beast already. This can be an okay removal spell post side, but these are all best of 1 games, so I don't think we want that. Let's take the intrusive Pack Beast again. Alright, next up, again, we're not really playing green, so we don't want any of these cards. Book Devourer looks like the pick for us. Has Trample, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can discard all the cards in your hand, and if you do, draw that many cards. So it's a decent 4/5. I'm going to take Canopy. I'm going to take Woodshaper. And now we have a 10th District Guard, which might end up... So, third pack here, we have another Ornery Goblin down here. We have an Unmoored Ego. We have a Beam Splitter Mage. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only this creature, if you control more than 1 or more creature that could be targeted, choose one of those creatures, copy that spell, and the copy targets the chosen creature. Okay. Not in our colors. Unmoored Ego is a decent card. I think we have a play set of that already. If not, we're pretty close, so I don't think I want that as a value pick. So just kind of going through. People are probably yelling at me down in chat by now. Righteous Blow deals 2 damage to target creature or player, but I think we want this Ornery Goblin. We also have another Hammer Dropper here. We also have Boros Guildgate. I think I'm going to take the Ornery Goblin here. Wow, there's not a lot in this pack. I think Skyliner Scout's the best best card here. So we're going to take that. Alright, we have another Sergeant, so that's our pick here. Alright, Wojak Bodyguard. So our Mentor deck is coming along pretty well. We're getting all these little pieces here or there. That's actually adding up to quite a bit. So we only have one guild gate, but as long as we control a gate, Garrison Guardian has double strike, and it's also a 3/3, which seems weak on a 5-drop, but we have the ability to power it up. Alright, whenever it attacks, creatures with defending can't block. We also have another Convoke, we have another Convoke card here. I think I'm going to take Locksmith. A 2/1 is pretty decent. Nothing really that stands out in this pack. We'll take Creeping Chill and put it in our sideboard. Alright, so we have a Haunted Witness, we have a Take Heart. This can lead to some favorable combats. I think I'm going to take the Take Heart. However, having a 1-drop in Haunted Witness is sometimes better. Yeah, we're pretty creature heavy already. I'm going to take the Take Heart. Alright, I guess here I'm just going to take another Hammer Dropper. And another Hammer Dropper. Candlelight Vigil. Creeping Chill, just throw it in our sideboard. I have a place out of those. Not sure about those. Alright, everything else is pretty much just unplayable stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at our huge pile of red-white cards. Alright, so I don't think we want Book Devourer because of the strategy we have going on here. We have a lot of powerful cards here, so we definitely want to run 17 lands, which currently we have in our deck here, pre-generated by our by MTG Arena. We do have to make 6 cuts though to get down to 40. Alright, so let's take a look down our list. So we have a Haunted Witness, which is a decent Convoker. Comes down early, it can get a couple points of damage in, it gets boosted a lot, it also survives the first time it gets killed. So that's a decent card. I don't think we want to cut that. Take Heart is potentially one we can take, but I feel like it's going to lead to favorable combats. Skyline Scout has flying and evasion, so that's a decent card. 10th Street District Guard, I don't think we want this card. Locksmith, I don't think we want either. We have Ornery Goblin, which is a 2/1, and whenever it becomes blocked or blocks, it deals 1 damage to that creature. So it can actually kill things with 3 toughness. So that those are cards we want. We also have Fresh Faced Recruit, which has first strike as long as it's our turn. Legion Guild Mage. These are goblins. Legion Guild Mage. I think that's just a decent card overall. I think we want to keep that. Glaive the Guild Pack of the Guild Pack. So we only have 1 gate in here. However, it still gives our creature Vigilance and Menace, which can lead to favorable combats. I think we're going to keep that one around for now. So Sworn Companions here, we have 2 1/1 white soldiers with lifelink. I think that's decent with our Convoke strategy and our Mentor strategy. Boros Locket is okay because it can draw some cards. We have Candlelight Vigil, which is a 4-drop and gives our creature 4/2 in Vigilance. I feel like we can trim one of these. I don't think we want 2 in our deck. Color of the Culprits, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Toughness 4 or greater, not power. I think this is a good card. Any of the green-black strategies, the green-white strategies, are all kind of 4 toughness or better. Even some of the small things, like our next card, Guardian, has 4 toughness. It can be killed by Caller. I think we want to keep that one around. Rubble Boar. I think this is a cut. It gives a creature +2/+0 until end of turn, which is okay. But it's a 4-drop and it only comes down as a 3/3, so I think we're going to trim here. Hammer Dropper is a 5/2 with Mentor. Again, this is a card that dies quickly and easily. However, it can be a fantastic blocker. It can also be a really good mentor to something like our 3/3 Pack Beast, or even our Venerated Lockstone, which is a 4/4. So I don't think we want to necessarily cut the Hammer Dropper. I can trim down to 3 if I don't find anything else that I think we want to cut. But overall, I think the 5/2 is a decent card. We also have Intrusive Pack Beast, which is Vigilance 3/3, and whenever it enters the battlefield, tap 2 creatures your opponent controls. Venerated Loxodon, I read that in the beginning. It has Convoke, and each creature that convoked it gets a +1/+1 counter when it enters the battlefield. We also have Barging Sergeant, which similar to Hammer Dropper, but it has haste and is a 4/2. And we also have Garrison Sergeant, which has double strike as long as you control a guild gate, and is a 3/3, which can be mentored by the Bargaining Sergeant or the Hammer Dropper. So I think that's good enough, even though we only have 1 guild gate to play. So maybe it is just right to trim on a Hammer Dropper, and then the other thing I could see cutting is a Candlelight Vigil. But overall, I think we want to be a pretty aggressive deck. And I think the Pack Beast, even though it's a 5-drop 3/3 with Vigilance, tapping 2 creatures can lead to favorable combat steps, which is really good. And I think this Sergeant's just too good. I think I actually might want to cut 2. I want to cut 1 Hammer Dropper for sure. I think I might want to cut something else and put in this Take Heart. I think Take Heart, again, I think is going to lead to favorable combats where we're going to want that. Alright, so we have kind of these 6 cards as kind of our early game. Getting into the middle of our game here, we have Companions, Wojak Bodyguard, Boros Locket can ramp us up a little bit so we can play a 5-drop on turn 4 and also draw cards later in the game. Vigil's good because it can increase the toughness and power of some of these smaller creatures. Hammer Dropper is good because it's just a 5/2 with Mentor. Maybe it's Sergeant. Maybe Sergeant's just a little too slow because of our deck here. You know, on a board where this is just a 3/3, I think the upside is just too great. Having the Boros Garrison and the Garrison Sergeant, Boros Guildgate and the Garrison Sergeant, I think that's just too much upside to really cut. Yeah, I'm gonna cut a Warhammer. Yeah, Warhammer, a Hammer Dropper here, and put in a Take Heart. Alright, so let me update the deck list, and then I will be right back, and we will play some games with our Boros deck. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Your deck list should now be updated to the right of your screen, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this Ravnica Allegiance ranked draft. Guilds of Ravnica. Did I say Ravnica Allegiance earlier? I definitely meant Guilds of Ravnica. Alright, opening hand here. It's not very strong. We have 5 drops, which we can't even cast, and we have a Caller the Culprit. I think we're going to have to mulligan this hand. Alright, this hand's a little better. As Skyline Scout, which at least has evasion, we can use our mana to attack for a while. Yeah, we'll leave that on top. We're going to start here, though, with Plains, and then move into Mountain, and just play a Skyliner Scout. Alright, we're actually going to leave... We're probably going to leave our scout back this turn. Because Child of Night, our opponent can just attack and gain the life we're hitting him for. If our opponent attacks here, we can actually just take Heart and so I'm going to block here and then take Heart our creature. Alright, Thief of Sanity from our opponent. So that's definitely one to be afraid of. So we're actually going to attack here. Thief of Sanity is definitely a huge powerhouse of a card, especially in Limited. We have no way of killing this, so... Alright, 2 planes from our... Alright, there's a Mentor. Yeah, that's a little rough for us. Alright, we're actually going to play out Locket here. And attack. We'll pay the 2. Or not. I feel like I'm screwing up this draft a little bit. Being able to mentor Thief of Sanity here, our opponent's just going to win this game. Thief of Sanity from our opponent is just way too good of a card. However, next turn we can actually Color the Culprit it. Alright, I'm just going to pass back. Our opponent here is going to attack. Interesting. Alright, so I'm going to block here still. So we're down to 3. Maybe that was the wrong move to make. Alright, so we're actually going to be able to color here. So we might be able to stabilize on this board. Alright, let's see if we can stabilize for 3. At 3. Any removal spell our opponent may win the game. Alright, so we're looking for a window to capitalize now. So let's see if we can find it. Alright, there it is. Alright, so our opponent got this game. Alrighty, so we have some early creatures. I think I'm going to keep this hand. We have Boros Guildgate to fix our mana. We have the Glaive if we want it. Overall, this is a decent hand, I would say. Alright, Alright, Thought Eraser from our opponent. Decent card, especially on turn 2. Interesting. So our opponent takes the Ladev. So I'm going to lead with the Legion Guild Mage. I feel like our opponent probably has a removal spell. Yeah, there's a dead weight for that. Alright, I'm going to play the Skyliner here. We had a pretty bad game 1, but hopefully we can pick up a little bit better here. I'm just gonna throw Take Heart out. I know that kind of sucks, but I feel like it's better than losing all our creatures. Hit our opponent for 2, play Ornery Goblin, play Glaive here, and then hopefully we're going to be able to swing in for a bunch. Alright, there's a Muse Drake. Not too worried about that one. Alright, yeah, I think I'm going to equip here to Skyline Scout and swing for both. Decline, we don't need to. If our opponent blocks here, they're going to lose their Muse to the Ornery Goblin. Alright, so our opponent takes 5 here. Oh, so our opponent's a Grixis deck. Interesting. Our opponent deciding what to do. They decide the Selective Snare or Skyline Scout. And the follow-up plays a Guild Summit, so they're going to get the draw card here. So I think our next play is just equipped the Guild Pact to actually. Now I just want to play Skyline Scout and Warjack and swing for 2. I think that's our best play here. Alright, so here's a Piston Fist Cyclops. Decent card, but overall I think we're doing pretty well. So our opponent hits us down for 1. So I can do actually both play Sworn Companions and... So I guess the question is, where do I boost? Maybe I just boost Skyline Scout and swing, keep the Sworn Companions in hand. I'm going to mentor, yeah, the Ornery, which is what I wanted to mentor. And then I want to pay 2 for the Skyline Scout. And now no matter what our opponent blocks, they're going to lose some creatures. Alright. Pass back to our opponent. Our opponent only drew a land per turn. So now if they attack, I think they just lose. So I'm going to play the Locket here. I'm going to move the combat. I'm going to swing with our Skyline Scout. And I'm going to give it flying. That way it can't be blocked this turn. So it can't block because it has Menace, Flying, and Vigilance. And this doesn't have Flying. And so this can't block it because our opponent doesn't have 2 creatures. And we'll just pass the turn back to our opponent. And the only way they don't die this turn is if they draw a removal spell or draw another flying creature. Alright, our opponent's going to pump up their Veil of Shade. I'm going to say if they pump it up 3 times, I can't imagine they'd have anything. Alright, here's the 3rd pump. Alright, I'm just going to take this damage here. And this is probably our opponent just giving up. Yeah, okay, they concede here. Alright, we go back up to Silver Tier 3. And hopefully we can get some limited play now. We might move to some constructed content after this. Alright, this hand looks really good. It has a Skyline Scout on turn 2, a Wojak Bodyguard on turn 3, and can also Sworn Companion later down the road. So we're going to start with our Guild Gate here. Pass the turn to our opponent. We'll play our Skyline Scout. Our opponent plays Legion Guild Mage. I think I'm going to start by attacking, see what our opponent does. If they want to trade here, I think I'm fine with that. I think Legion is a pretty good card, so I don't want to end up losing to that. So here's a Wojak. Our opponent with a second Boros Guild Gate. So they're not going to be able to tap down anything this turn. They can swing for 2 if they're not, if they don't already know that. Alright, they're going to Defiant Strike here. Decent card. So we're not actually going to be able to do anything here other than play the Sworn Companion, because Wojak Bodyguard can't attack or block alone. Next turn, though, we're going to be able to play Sergeant and attack for a bunch. Alright, here comes Sergeant. We're going to swing in with everything. Now I have to decide if I'm going to double pump our Bodyguard or if I want to double pump a token, but I think double pumping a token here is probably the best. Alright, so we lost a token here, but having the Sergeant is just good for us. So having double mentor triggers is just, I think, better than having a random token around. Alright, here's another bodyguard, which actually works pretty well with each other. Because now that we have another bodyguard, yeah, so they're going to block the Sergeant here. Now that we have another bodyguard, it's actually going to, and this is a 4/4, it's actually going to mentor the other bodyguard. So if our opponent doesn't have anything killer here, then we can actually swing in for 8 next turn. Alright, we don't have something with power 4 or greater on our opponent's side of the battlefield. We are going to trade with this garrison, though. So our opponent's down to 3. We're not going to be able to attack, though. Now we just have to see what our opponent comes up with. We had a strong start, but we can definitely lose from this spot. Alright, there's a mentor flying vigilance. Alright, that's not going to do it here. Pass the turn. We're going to draw 2 at the end of turn with Boros Garrison. Hopefully be able to play something out. Maybe I should have done it last turn, that way I could play out whatever we draw. Here's an Ornery Goblin. Our opponent's going to swing in for 2 here. Yeah, I should have probably cracked this garrison last turn. Especially with 3 mana up. Yeah, we could have played this Haunted Witness. Alright, so Legion's actually lethal next turn if our opponent doesn't draw anything, because it can just deal 3 to our opponent. So they do have to produce a threat here. Or a way to remove Legion. It looks like they might have the Convoke XL. Oh, they have a Loxodon Restorer. Okay. That's a good move. Alright, so now Rock Charger, I might have to kill that. Actually, do I just... I kill Restore here. Tap. Oh, I'm so close to winning. Kill Restore. That's step 1. Step 2. I guess a swing with everything. And then Convoke here. And our opponent has to block either this Legion Guild Mage or the Wheeljack Bodyguard. And then I think we just have lethal next turn. So again, our opponent's in a position they have to come up with something to kill the Guild Mage or gain life. Alright, and that's the game. So we're going up 2 here. If we win the next one, we go up to silver level 2. I'm pretty excited for War of the Spark that's going to come out later this week. Hopefully we can get some sealed games in and get those up on the channel before you start your pre-release on Friday. So make sure you check them out. Make sure you also check out our other content. We play a lot of Standard, Modern, and Legacy over on MTGO. We play Standard here on MTG Arena. And without further ado, let's get into our opening hand. So we have Sworn Companions, we have Venerated Loxodon, and Hammer Dropper. I feel like all these are really good cards. We're going to keep these. Alright, we're going to start with this plane since it's our only one. Oh, and we have the Curve Out in Skyline Scout. Alright, so if our opponent doesn't play anything here, alright, we're going to start by swinging 2. Then I actually want to play this Bodyguard here. Alright, so does our opponent just not have anything, or are they just playing with us? Decline, swing for 3. Huh. Alright, so now I'm going to play a Sworn Companion. And next turn, if our opponent plays something large, I'm just going to play this Venerated Loxodon. If we draw a land, what we can actually do is play the Dropper. Ooh, there's our land. Alright, so I'm going to play the Dropper here and then convoke out Venerated Loxodon. Alright, now I think our opponent's just dead. I think this is too quick of a start for our opponent. Alright, and that's the game. Alright, so going up to Silver, level Tier 2. We haven't played a lot of Ranked. We need to start playing a lot more Ranked if we're ever going to get the Mythic. That was an awesome, powerful draw. Alright, we're against the Slayer. Alright, all white cards, 2 Bodyguards, Garrison. This hand is not very good. We're going to mulligan this. All red cards. I guess we're going to keep it. I guess we're going to keep that Locket on top. Not a powerful start for us, but hopefully it'll get better. We are going to curve a little bit, which is good. We're going to play 2 Bodyguards, which is also good. We have a Glaive here. Ooh, there's a Sergeant. So if we draw a land this turn and draw a land next turn, I think it's pretty decent. So I'm going to play another Wojak Bodyguard next turn. I'm going to wonder if our opponent... Alright, there's a land. I wonder if our opponent knows they can block together. So this will be a test for our opponent. Alright, there's a giant spider. Alright, so our opponent did miss that. They can block together. And now, yeah, we just drew a land, so we are in very good shape here. We're going to attack with everything. We're going to pump up our Bodyguard. And now we're just mentoring away. Super powerful draw. And we have this Loxodon left over. So if we have anything we need to pump up. Alright, they're going to take out our guy here. But we can still attack. And now they're pumping each other. And here we're going to play a Boros Locket. And then we're going to play the Sworn Companion. And then next turn we're probably going to play this Venerated Loxodon. Which we can actually play this Bodyguard and pump up one of our tokens to a 3/3. I think this might just be too much for our opponent. Our deck's good. We started off very slow. But this Mentor mechanic, definitely a powerhouse of a mechanic in the right build. Alright, so we're going to lose a soldier here. And that's just going to be the game. And a sergeant on top of that. Just convoke, all the way up to a 4/4. Good game, opponent. That was a rough loss for our opponent. All right, up to 4 wins. Let's get a 5th. We definitely started off a little rocky, but hopefully everyone's been impressed with this deck so far. I think we drafted pretty well overall for what we had to work with. I think we can keep this. It's a little slow and a little weird, but we're on the play, so hopefully we don't fall behind too bad. Alright, I'm actually going to play the Goblin Ornery here. I think it's a better 2-drop, and then we can play the Wojak Bodyguard next turn. Pump it up to a 3/3, which is pretty good. And we'll see if our opponent has anything. This is definitely a very fast format. I think aggression definitely has its advantages. And this mentor mechanic, just being able to pump all your 2/1s, just that little extra points of damage really add up over time. And having a Pack Beast, if we draw another land and be able to play Pack Beast on 5, Pack Beast on 6, I just think there's no way our opponent's going to get through that. That being said, if our opponent has like a deal 2 damage to something mechanic, it can definitely slow us down quite a bit. Alright, there's a bodyguard from our opponent. Alright, and there's the other land we needed. So we're going to hit our opponent to 6. We're going to play out this Haunted Witness. And now the next 2 turns are just going to be playing Pack Beast and tapping down whatever our opponent had. So our opponents kept up with mana, and they actually have better mana than us in 2 white and 2 red. But just them slowing down that little bit of extra just really cost a lot of momentum. And now these Pack Beasts are going to come in and clean up quite a bit. Alright, Mentor Haunted Witness over here. And yeah, our opponent's just going down here. Even if they're able to play another creature, we're going to be able to play this Pack Beast. These bodyguards are definitely a powerhouse to be reckoned with. Who knew Mog Warflunky costing 1 extra mana and having a little mechanic called Mentor tapped on? Who knew that was going to be such a powerful card, especially in limited? All right, so if that's all our opponent has, they're gonna go down with the ship here. We're gonna be able to tap their 2 Guardians, and then their Wojak Bodyguard isn't gonna be able to attack. All right, here's another white mana. And that's going to be the game for our opponent. So yeah, make sure you tap down here, because then Bodyguard can't attack. And swing all, Mentor over here, and that is the game. I don't think there's any fog effects in this in red-white, but alright, our opponent boosted up our Haunted Witness. Good game, opponent. Alright, we earned a pack and a card. What's the card? Murmuring Mystic, so that's definitely a good card. Claim all that. Alright, we have 2 to 4 more games, potentially. I guess 2 to 3 games. Because we can either lose 2 and be out, we can win 2 and be out, or we can win 1, lose 1, win 1, or we can win 1, lose 1, lose 1. So 2 to 3 games left. Please stick around till the end. Big shout out to our awesome sponsors, Mana Traders up there. We have Inked Gaming as well. And also anyone on our Patreon page, you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your support. We're going to keep this hand. We're going to turn to Ornery Goblin and hopefully find a third land. If we find a third land, I think we're in pretty good shape. If we don't find a third land for a while, we might be a little bit of a rough patch. But I think being that we kept 17 lands in our deck, I think we're going to be in a good place. So Cranko is our opponent, and if you haven't seen any of the War of the Sparks cards yet, there is a card called Cranko in there, originally generated off a Cranko mob boss. Alright, so our opponent is definitely kind of a lockdown deck. They're probably green-white or green-black. Green-white, playing Convoke cards would make sense with this plant wall. Alright, green-white, there it is. Alright, so we're going to move in and attack. If our opponent blocks, they're going to lose their wall. Alright, so we're going to get in for 2, and we're going to pass the turn. We did miss a land drop, which does suck, but... Alright, there's a wary... Show me a land. There it is. So I can move in and attack here and maybe lose our goblin, which I think that's fine. If our opponent double blocks here, they lose both their creatures if we take heart, but they're not going to block here. So I'm going to run out this Boros Locket, and then hopefully either play some droppers next turn or this Sergeant if we draw a land. Five-2 seem to be pretty good in this format, but we can also take heart our 5-2 and make it a 7-4, which is pretty good. So they're going to swing in here for 3. We have them down to 16. They're hitting us down to 17. If we draw a land, it might actually throw out one of these drop. Yeah, so we drew a land. So rather than just losing our Sergeant here, I think I want to play a dropper and then leave this take heart up. Alright, we'll see what our opponent has next turn. They're eventually probably going to pop this Vine. That way they sack a creature with Defender, draw a card. So right now that's the only creature with Defender. So we'll see what our opponent comes up with here. It looks like there may just be green-white, which I think we might be favored against. Alright, they're going to fight. So now I'm going to take heart the hammer. So I think that was probably a good move here. With the Sergeant. Like not playing the Sergeant last turn and then playing the hammer with the take heart up. So now if our opponent doesn't have anything this turn, we can play Sergeant next turn and actually pump the Sergeant. Yeah, so I like this play. So I'm going to play Sergeant, pump the Sergeant with the dropper, and pump the Ornery Goblin. With the Sergeant. Alright, so I'm going to do that here and do that here. Our opponent, if they don't have a flash threat, they're taking a lot of damage here. Everything's bigger than the Haunted Witness tokens, that's for sure. Alright, they'll probably sack the Vines in response to draw a card. Yep. So our opponent only took 3 on that entire attack, but we definitely have 2 pump effects that's going to make this Ornery Goblin a 5-4. Oh, our opponent just concedes here. Alright, good game, opponent. So we're going to go up to Silver Tier Level 1. Alright, one more for either a win or a loss. If we win, we're done. If we lose, we get one more chance of victory. Going a 7-7-1. Alright, I'm definitely going to keep this hand. It has some larger drops, but we have 3 turns to draw something. And we have this Sky Scout we can just kind of ping in for a couple. Didn't we just play against this person? That's weird. Didn't we just play against our... I have to go back and watch later. I swear we just played against this person. That's definitely weird. Alright, so I'm just going to pay the 2 here. Next turn I can play a Hammer Dropper. Alright, so now they have a 4-4. Yeah, I think it's still just the Hammer Dropper here. If we draw a land, it might be 2 Hammer Droppers. Maybe not. If we draw a land, actually, we could play Vigil on Hammer Dropper and giving it Vigilance and +3/+2, making it an 8-4, pumping the Sky Scout, and then leaving Take Heart up. Could be a decent play. Alright, there's a 5-5 Convoking Trampler. Do I just attack here? Probably, because I can just... I can pump Take Heart if I want. And he can trade Worm with the Dropper if he wants. And then we'll gain 2 life. And then be able to follow up with the fresh faced recruit. Yeah, so I'm just going to deal 5 to them. Kill that. And then follow up there. And then if we draw a land next turn, we can actually play Sergeant and swing in with a 4-4 here with first strike. A 4-3, sorry. And then a 5-2 and a 4-2. So I'm not going to block there. We're going to take 4. Alright, there's the land. So now, let me think this through, because I guess I don't got to think too hard. Because even if we, yeah, as long as we attack, he's not blocking the first striker, and he'll probably block the 2, the Sergeant and the, yeah, so we're probably losing the 2 of these no matter what. But getting a 4-3 first striker I think is really good. And we can actually put Vigil on it as well. Or just play another Hammer next turn. Oh, it became a 7-7? What was that? What was that card? Target creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control until end of turn. That's wild. Okay. That could have taken me by surprise. Alright, so I'm definitely playing out Dropper here. I think I'm going to swing in with a 4-4. Do I swing in with the 4/4 or do I wait? What's the chances he has 2 of these? Might of the Masses. I mean, you can double block, but it won't do anything. Alright. So now this is going to be a 5/4 as long as Hammer survives. Alright, we're going to take 4 here, but we're going to force them to block. Probably double block next turn. I mean, I don't think our opponent can block this fresh-faced recruit because it has first strike. Interesting. So maybe there's a combat trick I don't know about. Alright, target creature gets +3/+3. Alright, that's a decent. So I can play Garrison or I can play the Guardian. I guess I play Garrison here. I don't see why our opponent wouldn't swing for 4. Hopefully we don't just lose here. Okay, we don't. There is a Tajik. Or a Wojak, I mean. So our opponent's at 9. I guess I'll start with attacking. I'm assuming our opponent's taking 5 here. Alright, so our opponent's down to 4. So now I just play here and convoke out the Guardian, and now I think our opponent's just dead. Alright, so there's an elf. Alright, there's the Vigil, and now I think that might be game. Because now we have a 4/4, a 5/2, and a 5/6. And can our opponent kill 2 creatures? Alright, destroy target enchantment. Alright, they couldn't deal with it all. That's the game. Alright, we went 7-1. Our first loss was to Thief of Sanity game 1. So that was definitely a rough one. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are going to open some packs, so stick around. Let's grab... Alright, Code of Constraint. Target creature gets -4/-0 until end of turn, you draw a card. And if it was cast during your main phase, tap that creature and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Alright, we're going to claim these prizes. 950. And we have 2 Guilds of Ravnica. So let's open the packs we acquired. So let's start with the Ravnica Allegiance one we opened for daily victories. Alright, this pack is actually really good. So we have an Homunculus, Applied Biomancy, Gate Colossus, the rare, Kaya Usurper, Orzhov Usurper. So that's a really good card. That's a mythic rare, and it's also a Planeswalker from the new set. And War of the Sparks is coming out soon, which is also exciting. Alright, this doesn't look super good as far as limited play. Patrol's probably fine. Garrison if you have guild gates. But the rare is Light of the Legion, which is a Mentor Flying Angel. And whenever it dies, put a 1/1 counter on each white creature you control. So that is actually a decent card in something like an Angel build. Maybe there's a brew coming along that we could use this card for. Overall, this pack was pretty decent. Light of the Angel, definitely. Light of the Legion, definitely the best. Alright, we got a uncommon wild card here. A Golgari Locket. Phantasm here. Overall, not a bad pack, but the rare is Etrata, the Silencer. Etrata? Like data? Trata? Etrata the Silencer. So whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile target creature that player controls and put a hit counter on that card. That player loses the game if they control 3 or more cards in exile with hit counters on them. Shuffle this creature into its opponent's library, or into its owner's library, sorry. And it also can't be blocked, so it's a 3/5 for 4 that can block, but it can't be blocked if it attacks. It's also a Vampire Assassin, so that's a pretty spicy legendary creature. Overall, I think we did pretty well today. We got a few good cards. Our draft was fun. We had a good time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you so much for watching. Please go hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. For your custom playmats, mousepads, and more, head over to Inked Gaming. Use promo code crocodilemtg10 to receive 10% off your order. Today's video was brought to you by all our wonderful sponsors, affiliates, and patrons.